Hey, what is good everyone? Today we'll be talking about the top 5 growth stocks that you can invest in Australia. These are all Australian stocks with a lot of potential, but you know, this is not financial advice. Past performance doesn't indicate future performance. I'm not telling you to buy them, I'm just telling you to watch them. I'm not liable for any financial decisions you make. Simple. But in saying that, when I start with one of my personal favorite stocks that I put a few $1,000s in, and at one point I was up around 60% on this stock, which is Mineral Resources, ASX code MIN, a Western Australian mineral company that's getting pretty heavily involved in lithium. If you guys are in Western Australia or anywhere in Australia and know pretty much anything about mining, you guys know that these are a future big player, especially as they start to get more heavily involved in lithium. And we all know with Tesla and electric everything taking over the world, even the military is switching to using electric bikes and electric cars, lithium is going to be a big deal to keep up with the supply and demand of batteries. And as the technology gets more advanced, it's only going to become more in demand. But this is not a detailed breakdown of these companies or anything. This is just a quick overview, so some quick stats. In the last year alone, it's up 22.2%, and in the last 5 years the company is up 500%. Now obviously it was a very small company 5 years ago, so that exponential growth is probably slowing down as the market cap becomes a lot larger. Now they have been dipping up and down a little bit recently as their revenue reports haven't been coming in too strong. That's because they've been investing a lot in infrastructure and stuff, so their net income is down, but their revenue is still strong at 676 million Australian dollars in December of 2021. And another thing that I really like about Mineral Resources is they give back to their investors, with right now sitting at a 4.5% annual dividend yield. So even though it's a big growth stock, they're still paying out good dividends. But next we have another Perth-based, Western Australia-based mining company. We have Eluca Resources, ASX code ILU. It's a mineral sands producer with an upcoming integrated rare earth processing plant. It has a lot of infrastructure in a lot of different countries like South Africa, Caribe, and just a bunch of other random African and like Eastern type countries. And pretty much what they do is they're one of the best companies or best upcoming companies at sifting through sand and finding resources in the sand. So it's like a different kind of mining almost. You know, they use very high powered, high performance magnets to just find any resources, and they're pretty profitable. In 2021, $400 million of revenue, $116.7 net income with a net profit margin of 29%. The last year they're up 40% to giving out a 2.2% dividend yield. The last 5 years they're up 147% with a market cap of $4.5 billion. Now personally, I'm not invested in this stock. I'm waiting for a drop. You know, it's up 40% in the last year. That growth is not sustainable, okay? So I have to eventually have a correction or a drop of some sort, I reckon. So I'll just be watching this stock, but it's definitely something that might be very profitable in the future. It's a great, solid company founded in 1998 with over 3,000 employees. So it's a pretty big, established company that I would definitely be looking at. Next, we have John's Ling Group, ASX code JLG. It's actually a construction and repairs service company with a focus on contract insurance services and commercial real estate. Now this might be something that you'd be like, yo, it's 2022, why are we looking at real estate companies? As you know, they're dropping, and that's probably why I'd be looking at them. Commercial real estate, they always give out good returns, okay? If you look at the average rent that people and companies have paid, it's been pretty stable no matter how crazy inflation gets. Even in the housing market crash, rent kind of stays at a similar price. So no matter what, the company is going to be receiving good revenue. However, their assets and their investments might drop a lot, as well as the increase in interest rates is obviously going to hurt their business, which is something that I'll be looking at so that you can know if it drops, eventually it'll probably go up. But even then, it has seen a bit of a drop. It dropped from $8.94 in May 5th, and now it's sitting at $5.60. So it's seen a pretty big drop especially in the last month, down 30%. But despite the 31% drop in the last month, in the last 12 months, it's still up 34%. Over the last 5 years, they're up 348%, and this is no new company. They were founded in 1953. Their dividend is only about 0.98%, which is not great for Australia, but as we've been saying, they've been seeing pretty crazy growth. A revenue in 2021 was $185 million, net income $5.8 million, and that was up 33% over the last year. And that was up 33% from the previous year, which would have been 2020. So they've been going pretty strong in previous years, and I think this drop will be temporary. You know, the housing and real estate market might crash for a little bit longer, but I don't think it'll be too long until you can scoop up some cheap shares that will be crazy profitable when everything bounces back. Next, we have the Coronado Global Resources with an ASX code of CRN. It's one of the world's largest coal producers. However, they also produce a lot of steel, and the company has been benefiting crazy from the increase in commodity prices of like coal and all those kinds of resources recently. And they're just capitalizing so well on the economic markets right now and how resources have kind of been going. Now, in the last month, they are down 7%. However, in the last 6 months, they're up 73%. In the last year, they're up 165%. Now, that could be a bit of hype. They were only founded in 2011, but they still managed to raise an impressive market cap of $3.47 billion. And the dividend yield for this company is also really high, 5.89%. Considering right now they're just making so much money and so much profit. As of March 2022, revenue is at $947 million. Net income $269.9 million. And net income is up 758% from the last year. So again, this is one of those companies that you look at and you're like, wow, they're doing really good. They're making a lot of money, which is always a good sign. Their dividend yield is up nice and high, which is a good sign, which means they're making enough revenue to pay back their investors a lot of money. On top of that, they're also growing. You might say, have they been growing too much? Is the stock overpriced? Is it overvalued? Is it due for a correction, or is it gonna crash soon? Who knows? But it's definitely something I'd be watching and looking into. Last but certainly not least, we have Pilbara Minerals, ASX code PLS. It's one of Australia's biggest listed pure lithium mining players. They're not like Mineral Resources. They're only focused on lithium, which, as I was talking about before, is going to be a big industry. They recently acquired another lithium mining company, Altura Mining, for $175 million. So they're playing competitive in this space. They're trying to acquire other companies that can give them more of an advantage, heat up the competition, and overall just integrate with other companies and generate massive economies of scale. And now, as of recently, the stock hasn't been going too crazy. In the last month, it's down 5%. In the last 6 months, it's down 2%. However, in the last year, they're up 82.7%. So they had a little bit of a drop and then they've kind of stagnated. But in the last 5 years, they're up 575%. Once again, another Western Australian company. As of December 2021, revenue for them is up 400%, sitting at $145 million. Net income is at $57 million, up 638%. But unfortunately, this company doesn't pay out a dividend. But as I said, lithium is going to be a big industry, so this is definitely a stock to watch. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe. I really do appreciate it, and I'm out. See ya.